Our last panel is panel number 4, and it is Moving Beyond Our Backyard, Using Art and Media to Tell Stories of Filipino American History on a National Level. Our facilitator is Paloma, right over here, and she will take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm excited to introduce everyone on this panel. I'm going to get started quickly because I know everyone's probably hungry. But right here to my right is Ricky Nierva. Ricky is a 25-year veteran in the animation industry. His art and illustrations have been featured in movies like Up, Monsters, Inc., and Finding Nemo, to name a few. He has an extensive background, but we're going to keep it short. So if you want to know more about Ricky, Google his name.
No, please don't Google me.
Up next is Andre Sibayan, who is an illustrator and designer, and the illustrator for Journey for Justice, The Life of Larry Itliong. Yeah. He has also created graphics for San Francisco Soma Filipinas Undiscovered Night Market, among other projects from retail to food and hospitality. You can also Google Andre's name if you want more info. And to the right of Andre is Paula Mardo. She's an independent audio producer and host, producer, and creator of Long Distance, a narrative podcast about the Filipino diaspora, which is part of Google Podcast Creator Program. Welcome, Paula. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Romel Conclara. He is an Emmy-nominated journalist and currently reports as the San Francisco Bay Area's correspondent for the Filipino channel's nightly news program, Balitang America. Welcome, Romel. All right, so I'm a publicist, and I am the founder of Pop Lowdown Agency. We are running the PR campaign for the National Book Tour for Journey for Justice. And for the past 10 years, I've been working on amplifying the stories of Filipino Americans. And I want to give a shout out to Native Guns. Is Kiwi still in the auditorium? No? So Native Guns is really one of the catalysts as to why I'm doing this work. That album, Barrelman, who has the album Barrelman? So I'm sure that inspired a lot of us in this room. And that inspired me to really learn more about my history as a Filipino American. And so I want to ask the panel, can you tell me who or what moment in your history influenced you to want to tell stories and about Filipino Americans through your work? Anyone want to go first?
No, we're starting with you.
Ladies first.
Wait, what? Okay, fine. Nose goes. Wait, are you talking about my personal history?
Yes,
Oh,
for
great.
yourself. Like,
Yeah.
why did you decide to do long distance? And was there an artist or a moment, like a movie you saw?
I mean, I just like audio. I used to work in film, actually in the publicity side. But, you know, I fell in love with the medium of audio through podcasting and public radio. Anyone here listen to podcasts? Okay, some people, not yet all, but that's fine. A podcast is actually, it's a radio show on your phone. You can listen to audio stories for free on your cell phone. I can show you how to do it later. And I make stories for podcasts. And I think the reason I created Long Distance is a podcast about stories in the Filipino diaspora, because I like to say I am a child of the diaspora. I was born in LA, but I grew up in Manila, Kuala Lumpur, and the San Francisco Bay Area. I moved to the Bay Area when I was 15, so I'm technically what you would call a 1.5 generation Filipino American. And I don't know, I just think I see things through the perspective of someone who's lived in the homeland and also here, and making a podcast about stories that I could relate to, and also stories about the people I met and the kind of the community I'm in now. It kind of inspired me to do what I do now. I'm just interested in all of you guys' stories, so if you have something to share, find me later.
Thank you. Anyone else want to answer that question?
Yeah, I'll go. I can name it to the exact semester. It was fall 2007, Skyline College in San Bruno, in Professor Liza Rapello's class, when I learned about the Filipino World War II veterans. Just a year prior, I was in Iraq serving a tour, and I had no idea about what our veterans went through and the sacrifices that they had to go through, and the fact that they weren't promised the promises were broken, and that they were still fighting for equity. And that was like really the spark that was like, yo, there's a lot of stuff going on within our community that's not being talked about. So yeah, that was the moment.
Thank you, Ramel.
I think I can remember this one. I remember it was like, I think it was like 5th grade, and it was in summer. And as a kid, I always loved to draw. But for some reason, I got in trouble or something with my parents, and my mom was like, go clean the garage. And so I'm rummaging through my, cleaning stuff up, pretending to work, and I come upon this box. And it's my mom's stuff from the Philippines. And she has like some comic books in there. And there was something that I pulled out, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And it was Conan, I think. And I was like, why is Conan in Tagalog though? Like, I didn't understand. And I brought it up to her. I was like, oh yeah, this is my stuff. And I found out who he was. It was Alex Nino. And I was like, it kind of blew my mind, because like, comic books and stuff that I had, but like this guy, I looked him up, or my mom told me, about him, and she was like, yeah, he's Filipino. And I'm like, it sounds incredulous. Like, what, we can draw? Like, we don't have to be like a nurse? And it was crazy. It was crazy to me. And so I think in terms of like what was the spark, and what gave at least me permission, maybe privately and then publicly later, was to know that like this person's work kind of like wowed me, and he was doing incredible things, and he just so happened to look, he was Filipino. He looked like me, he looked like my dad, my uncle, your dad, your brother, or whatever. And so that was, for me, I was like, you can be out there and doing it. In relationship to this particular project that we're all here for Journey for Justice, I think a lot of the impetus to do this book was, aside from the personal, want just to do something that's art related, I think it really is about providing stories for young people in which they can see themselves. I think it's in that realm where, when you see yourself in something that inspires you, it gives you permission to do that too. And so for this, I'm hoping somewhere out there, when we're telling this story of the Manongs that allowed us the chance to do what we do up here creatively, when someone picks up this book, one of Paloma's beautiful kids down here, they read it, or they do a book report on it, it gets the line of questioning up. Maybe their friends they'll do a book report on it, and someone will be inquisitive to them, like, well, I want to know more about this. He was able, who is Larry Itliong? Why was he fighting? What was he fighting for? So for me, being able to be part of the history of storytelling, and to be able to provide something that will hopefully inspire others, Filipinos in the future, to tell their story, is why I do it.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, your mom having a Conan comic is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of amazing, because my parents didn't have any comic books.